Letting loose a thoroughbred supersport out on a testing track is a major turn on for every motorcyclist. I mean, sure, there might be some other things as well, but they would probably make this video R-rated. This is Anand Pandey and welcome to BBC Top Gear Mag India. The motorcycle that we are riding today was already best in the business, but it has become even better now in each and every aspect. And moreover, it looks like a proper mini GP machine now. We are at Bajaj Auto's Chakan testing track to ride the all-new KTM RC 390. Since this is a first ride review, we cannot wait to take the RC 390 out in the real world. But in the meantime, here are all the aspects where the RC 390 shines. Now, ever since the first set of spy pictures surfaced on the internet, keyboard warriors were keen enough to bash KTM. But people, it is about time that you put your virtual swords down because RC 390 looks striking in person. The whole bodywork and the whole attire is heavily inspired by KTM's MotoGP machine, that is the RC16, and it does have big bike proportions when it comes to its overall aesthetics. Like, personally speaking, I really don't have a problem with that face because I have been living with mine for the past 24 years. The new bodywork that you see here not only serves form but function as well. The bubble visor accompanied by the fairings make the RC390 a lot more aerodynamic than before. If you look at its top speed figures that is claimed by KTM, it can clock 11 km per hour more as compared to the old RC390. It also aids in its heat management as well because the fairing as well as the curved radiator help the hot air drift away from the rider. Moreover, if you wish to convert your RC390 into a proper track beast, you can easily swap these top fairings for track fairings or race fairings as well. And the new seats that we see here are draped in the new Alcantara material, which not only feels premium, but it also helps in gripping the motorcycle better. So when you are hanging off the motorcycle, the amount of grip that these seats provide is quite exemplary.
Since it is a generational upgrade, major weight saving measures have been implemented. Lighter alloy wheels and braking equipment have resulted in 3.4 kg lighter unsprung mass, and it has major implications out in the real world as well, because the RC390 feels even more agile and flexible than before. The way it turns now and changes direction is an absolute revelation. The old RC390 felt like a knife used by an assassin because it was razor sharp and sort of unforgiving in nature. But the new RC390 feels like a surgical knife with the same level of precision but a lot more forgiving. It feels like thin air while changing directions and is a lot easier to handle as well. Now, over the past few years, we all have become suckers for TFT instrument clusters. Good thing for us, the new RC390 borrows the same TFT cluster from its naked sibling. Now, just like the Duke 390, it also gets brightness adjustment and Bluetooth compatibility with the help of KTM's MyRide application. We might rant a little about lack of suspension adjustability up front later in this video, but it doesn't mean that the new RC390 lacks in this department. The suspension feels a little supple because KTM has increased the rear suspension travel to 165mm, which is 25mm more than before, and on the other hand, the front suspension travel has gone up by 10mm, as it now gets 130mm of travel. However, the front end is still very communicative as it talks a lot, and if you have the ears to listen to it, get ready to get bowled over by how the suspension setup performs. The rear monoshock gets rebound and payload adjustability, so that is a major advantage in that regard. The braking equipment might have become lighter than before, with disc brakes being more perforated, but holy freaking lord, do they bite and how. Up front, you get 320mm disc brake with radially mounted 4-piston calipers and a 230mm disc brake with single-piston calipers for the rear wheel. Now, keeping the numbers aside, the feedback and bite that is experienced when you squeeze the front brake lever is enormous. Abusing the cliche here, the RC390 can literally stop on a dime. Dual channel ABS comes as a standard fitment, and now we also get Super Moto mode for the ABS, which deactivates the system for the rear brake. It is a widely renowned fact that KTM can go all bonkers while loading their bikes with electronics, and they have repeated the same with the new RC390. It has now received a 3-directional inertial measurement unit, and with its help, the motorcycle traction control and ABS are lean sensitive. You also get a bi-directional quick shifter as a standard fitment, which is a boon especially when you want to shed some crucial microseconds out on the racetrack. Now, both the traction control and ABS aren't that intrusive, and that is a major advantage because electronic nannies can really spoil your fun when you're out on the racetrack. KTM has made some key changes to the internals of this powerhouse as it now gets a 40% bigger airbox, a new exhaust setup and new engine mapping as well. I still remember riding the first gen RC390. As soon as I backed the throttle open, it just wanted to bite my head off. While we still get the same level of explosive performance, the power delivery and the overall nature of the engine is now a little sedated. The aggressive nature of the old RC390 has been toned down a little to make it a friendlier proposition for new riders. The India spec RC390 gets 14.5mm higher clip-on handlebar as compared to the Euro spec model. But at the same time, if you wish to extract the full potential of this motorcycle, you can also lower the handlebar by around 10mm. Courtesy of the redesigned underpinnings, the rider has more space to move around. The previous generation of the RC390 had a diminutive fuel tank, but the new one gets a larger 13.5-litre fuel tank, which should affect its range by some crucial kilometers. The revised bolt-on subframe not only has dynamic advantages, but it can also be replaced separately in case of a crash, so you don't necessarily need to get the whole frame replaced. The 6-speed gearbox feels a little clunky to operate. A little slickness in this department would have made the RC390 a more polished motorcycle. Now, the same can be said for the quickshifter as well, because even in the mid-range it feels very mechanical. However, it gets a little smoother once you put it to use in the higher revs. Even though we know that the addition of adjustable suspension up front would have made the RC390 a lot costlier than it already is, but still, its arch rival, the Apache RR310 has upped the game, and we were hoping to see KTM repeating the same feat. Although it is purely subjective, but personally speaking, a throat-ear bark from the new exhaust setup could have elevated the whole riding experience to a whole new level. More oral drama in the low and mid-range would have definitely made the RC390 even more fun to ride than it already is.
One of the most favorite track tools in the lower end of the spectrum has become even more potent and user-friendly now. It is very commendable on KTM's part that they have not only made the new RC390 better on the track, but out in the real world as well. And all the changes implemented by the Orange Brigade really come into play once you hit the road. But if you're still among the ones who believe that the new RC390 is all about its polarizing looks, I feel sorry for you, mate. For us, we really cannot wait to take the RC390 out in the real world, because as far as we have ridden it on the track, we believe that it will impress us out in the real world as well. This is all, folks. Thanks for watching this video till the end, and if you still have any doubts or questions regarding the new RC390, feel free to drop them down in the comment section below. This is Anand Pandey signing off. I'll see you around.